All right, it's good to be here. How we all doing? All right, great. Okay, so if there's one thing I've learned in the 18 years of my life, it's that the best kind of stories are the ones that we can all relate to, right? Like, nobody's gonna relate to those kind of stories where like, oh, everything went perfectly, and I got a girlfriend, and I won the lottery, and all that stuff. No. You'd probably relate more to something like, I tried to pay for my food, my card declined, and then I just stared at the cashier like we were in a Wild West standoff. Yep. And if there's one thing that I think we can all relate to here, it's that we're a bunch of military brats, right? I thought so. Honestly, the best part about all the moving that I've done over the years is that I always get a new chance to reinvent myself. The only downside is that after a certain amount of time, I kind of forget who I am. And before we moved to Yokota, we lived in this small town in eastern Virginia called Poquoson. And if this is your first time hearing about Poquoson, well, you're just about the same as everyone else here. But let me paint a picture for you anyway. So, the natives who lived there, apparently they named it after a word that roughly translates to Great Marsh. And considering the fact that there's probably more gnats there than there are people, they weren't too far off the mark. The public education isn't very good either. The locals call it Bull Island, but last time I checked, it was a peninsula. But this particular story happened while we were still living there when I was 15. Other than all of that stuff I described, Poquoson has basically everything you'd need, right? They got a McDonald's, a Wendy's, and there's a lot of convenience stores there. Like, you could be dying in the middle of the street and someone would ask you, hey, do you need a doctor? And then you'd be like, nah, just get me a Gatorade from the 7-Eleven on every corner. So, I was riding my bike home from one of these 7-Elevens after my card declined while I was trying to buy a soda. Story of my life right there. And I was on my bike, minding my own business, and I was crossing from one part of the sidewalk to the next, and there was a little bit of road that I had to cross, but I didn't see any cars coming, so I thought I was in the clear. Keyword, I thought. Because right out of nowhere, bam! A car shoots out of nowhere and hits me. My life was flashing before my eyes, and most of it was just a highlight reel of embarrassing memories from when I was in 4th grade. Now, thankfully, since I'm still here, obviously, I wasn't too severely maimed by this. Like, yeah, my legs got a bit scratched up, but otherwise I was okay. My bike, however, yeah, it was basically out of commission. Small price to pay for not being in a wheelchair, I guess. Yeah. Now, you might be wondering, what about the driver that hit you? Did you see them by any chance? Well, yeah, I did. And let me tell you, she was more emotionally torn up than a 14-year-old girl listening to her first Louis Capaldi song. Despite the fact that she looked like she was in her 70s and she carried the wonderful aroma of cigarettes, whiskey, and a lifetime of questionable decisions. But beside all that, she was sobbing, profusely apologizing, and I think she said this wasn't even the first time she hit someone with her car, which that's kind of the last thing you want to hear while you're lying in the middle of the asphalt like roadkill. And there were some other people who saw this and could corroborate what had happened, and I didn't really know them too well, but I remember 2 distinct facts about them. First was that their teeth looked more like a small group of survivors. And also, they were so old that if you were to sneeze in their general direction, they'd probably disintegrate like Infinity War. I think the wind from me getting hit by that car might have taken a few of them out. Whoopsie. But in all honesty, even after all this time, I don't hold any bad blood against the woman who hit me, you know? Life is too short to hold grudges, and I just hope she's a more careful driver now, assuming the DMV hasn't put her face on a do not issue list. But I was able to call my dad, and he was able to drive me home, so thankfully I didn't have to look like an idiot walking my twisted up bike home like I had beef with it. So, lesson learned, always look both ways before you cross the street. And yeah, I know it kind of sounds like common sense, but it's especially important to keep that in mind if you ever go to Poquoson, because apparently there, getting hit on your bike by a car is just an average Tuesday. Thank you so much, Dakota. You've been a great